Chapter 716. Xiao Shiqin's arrival. Did these people come here specifically to humiliate me? Lu Hao had been called Lu Gao by Wei Chen, and Yi Chu had mercilessly exposed it, but logically speaking, that shouldn't have been the case. He just happened to be passing by this way. How could Yi Chu have arranged this encounter beforehand? Thinking of this, Lu Hao felt that it wouldn't be right to flare up, when he heard the person next to him mutter, "Oh? It's Hao, not Gao?" That person's tone of voice made it sound like the name Lu Hao itself was a mistake. Lu Gao should be the correct name. The contempt in his voice made Lu Hao furious. He was just about to say something, when he heard Yi Chu say, "Old Wei, don't annoy him. He has to catch the Route 9 bus." Oh, Wei Chen turned his head to look at him. Sure enough, a Route 9 bus was slowly pulling up to the stop. He didn't feel embarrassed at getting someone's name wrong. He even patted Lu Hao's shoulders as if they were good friends. "The bus is here. You'd better hurry." Route 9 bus. Lu Hao felt like he had been humiliated again. The Route 9 bus was indeed one way to get to the airport, but did he need to use such an economical method? Did they think he didn't have the money to ride a taxi? Wei Chen swaggered away. Lu Hao didn't look at the incoming Route 9 bus. He stood straight up and started waving to hail a taxi. Not long afterwards, a taxi pulled over. When he looked back at Happy Internet Cafe, he realized that they had already left. He didn't know if they had seen him hail a taxi or not. "Hey, are you going or not?" The taxi driver interrupted Lu Hao's thoughts. He sat in the taxi and left this damned place. At Happy Internet Cafe, when they saw Lu Hao turn around and hail a taxi, they entered the Internet Cafe, but they didn't stop to watch him. It was tiring, standing by the entrance the entire time. After going inside and finding a good angle, they could simply sit down and watch from the comfort of the Internet Cafe. Wei Chen followed along everyone else to hear. He grabbed a wooden stool and sat down, gazing at the crowd and saying, "Is that idiot coming?" One of Glory's 4 master tacticians was about to transfer to Excellent Era and become a formidable opponent for Happy in the Challenger League, so Wei Chen referred to him as an idiot. However, Wei Chen wasn't alone. Choosing to transfer to a relegated team like Excellent Era and needing to wait a year before joining the Pro Alliance again was certainly a controversial decision. Wei Chen wasn't the only one who regarded him as an idiot. Wei Chen's view was only because of his own position. Others actually thought he was being stupid. Tisk tisk, what a welcoming. He really is popular, Wei Chen sighed. Even though he had been Team Blue Rain's former captain and could be considered an influential figure, he had never experienced such a grand event. At that time, the alliance had only just been created. There weren't nearly as many fans as there were now, let alone such passion. Now that he had decided to return to the pro scene, he couldn't help but sigh as he compared the past with the present. Okay, let's not be concerned about them. We still have other things to do. The new week has just begun. Yi Chu got up and headed upstairs. The results from last week's wild boss hunting had been quite good. The various big guilds had their cake stolen away though and definitely wouldn't stand still. What would they do today? In the practice room on the second floor, they all logged on. Lulan Slash and the other 3 guild leaders were already online and waiting for him to log on. Last week, Yi Chu hit himself using Enlightened Lord, but the results weren't that good. He didn't have the guild tag on his head, and yet he had still been noticed in the large-scale battles. After a few fights, he was already exposed. Enlightened Lord suddenly became the priority target of everyone. For the few times that Enlightened Lord had successfully been killed, the guilds discovered that killing him didn't have the desired effect. Was this Enlightened Lord really Yi Chu? This was the real problem. At this moment, some people thought, Yi Chu doesn't only have one account. It's too naive to only target Enlightened Lord. After he dies, he just switches to a second account. Do we really have the ability to kill them all off one after the other without getting wiped out by our opponents? In the end, apart from cursing out, "Too despicable, too evil," what could the guilds do? They could only deal with the character, but not the person behind the character. The person, not the character, was the truly scary one. Seeing these results, everyone stopped rushing to kill him as soon as he came out. If they killed him, he could just switch accounts. It would only make things worse too, because it would mess up their own formations. They might as well just go with the flow. If they encountered an opportunity, they would kill him. If they didn't, they would regard him as their primary target and run into a dead end. Yi Chu logged onto Enlightened Lord. As soon as he came online, the 4 guild leaders messaged him. 4 wild bosses had spawned in the heavenly domain between last night and now. The Alliance failed to get any without Yi Shu's leadership. This was actually the Alliance's greatest weakness, their reliance on Yi Shu. Without Yi Shu to lead them, their competitive strength drastically decreased. Yi Shu was irreplaceable. As a result, they couldn't be competitive 24/7 like the club guilds and could only be competitive for about 2/3 of the time. Yet even in this kind of situation, they were still able to get 33 out of 74 wild bosses. These results were extremely terrifying. How could the various big guilds not be fearful? Call me if there's any news, Yi Shu replied to them. This was how snatching wild bosses worked. If there were no bosses, the rest of the time was for themselves. Tang Ru, Steamed Bun, and Little Cold Hands were following the training program that Yi Shu created for them. As for Yi Shu, his work wasn't limited to just the game. The 2 million RMB worth of materials had gradually been paid over the course of this week. Samsara wasn't trying to drag the matter out, rather Yi Shu hadn't been prepared to receive them until now. They needed enough accounts to store all the materials. It was 2 million RMB worth of materials. How could the storages of a few accounts be enough? The storages of all of the accounts they had on hand were completely filled to the brim. Yi Shu was using most of his free time to figure out how he should utilize these materials. The clubs had their own logistics departments. The pro players didn't need to worry about researching how to create equipment. However, as a player from an older generation, Yi Shu wasn't like the young pro players who only knew how to play the game. In the early years, pro players had multiple responsibilities. They had to compete, manage the in-game guilds, and even research how to create self-made equipment to improve their own team's strength. Even though the clubs created their own logistics department to deal with these matters later on, it didn't mean that their experience was wasted. They just didn't put in as much energy or time as they had before. It was because of this that Team Samsara's Tong Lin directly joined Samsara's logistics department after retiring as a pro player. The dual guns used by Cloudpiercer, Wildfire and Shattered Frost, were mostly his work. Tong Lin's contribution to the title Great Gunner couldn't be understated. At Happy, Yi Shu's Lord Grim and Wei Chen's Windward Formation both had silver weapons. Steamed Bun and Tang Ru still needed one though. They might not need to worry too much about regular opponents in the Challenger League, but facing Excellent Era, a bunch of orange equipment wasn't going to cut it. Silver equipment was a must. Yi Shu had to develop numerous silver pieces of equipment for these characters. He needed time to organize everything. Everyone in the practice room was busy doing their own thing. There was no news from Lulan Slash or the other guild leaders. At around 10 o'clock, a sudden clamor from outside their window interrupted the silence. The noise was almost ear-piercingly loud. Everyone in the room jumped up out of their chairs in surprise. After staring blankly for a bit, they realized what had happened. Even the windows were shaking from the noise. Shao Shiqin. Shao Shiqin. Shao Shiqin. Shao Shiqin had finally arrived. None of the 5 players in the room pretended to be calm. They got up and went to the window to look outside. Compared to earlier that morning, there were who knew how many people at Excellent Era's main entrance. Even a part of the road had been blocked off by the crowd. Fortunately, this road wasn't a particularly busy one. It was strangely spacious too, so it didn't actually cause any traffic. The crowd surrounded a van stopped by the road. Yi Shu recognized it. The van was a Ford E350 that Excellent Era rarely used. This time, it was being used to pick up Shao Shiqin, which showed how much Excellent Era truly valued this all-star player. The van didn't directly go into the club. Instead, it stopped right outside of the front entrance. Of course, before the fans could crowd in front of it, the security guards had quickly created a pathway. Excellent Era was well prepared for Shao Shiqin's arrival. They lacked the necessary manpower, so they even hired outside security to help. Amidst the shouting from the fans, Shao Shiqin finally stepped out of the car. As soon as his foot hit the ground, cheers instantly erupted, causing the electronic alarms of quite a few cars along the side of the road to go off. For a moment, the alarms added to the noise made by the fans. Excellent Era hadn't anticipated this would happen and it ruined the mood a bit, but from this, Shao Shiqin's popularity could be seen. Many fans heard the alarms go off and yelled even harder to suppress the noise created by the alarms. Xiao Shiken jumped with fright from the noise. A small team like Team Thunderclap couldn't compare to the popularity of a famous team like Team Excellent Era. Along the way to the club, the employees who received him said that there were many fans waiting for him to arrive. Xiao Shiki didn't think too much of it, but when he got off the car, he was stunned by the scene in front of him. Xiao Shiken truly felt like he had made a significant leap in his career. Even though Excellent Era had been relegated, while Thunderclap was still fighting in the pro scene, from the amount of noise created just from his welcome, Xiao Shiken could already feel that Thunderclap didn't have such power. If Excellent Era was still in the Pro Alliance and stayed as a formidable competitor, what would the fans be like then? Xiao Shiken suddenly wanted to see this scene very much, and he knew that the reason he came here was to make that scene a reality. Once Xiao Shiken finished thinking about what he wanted to say, he began speaking to the fans. Chapter 717. Some happy, some worried. Club Excellent Era gathered the fans, the media, and had even reserved a car to pick Xiao Shiken up from the airport. How could they just let Xiao Shiken simply get off the car, walk through the main entrance, and end the event like that? Inside, the club had prepared a stage out in the open in order to officially announce Xiao Shiken's addition to Excellent Era. Lu Hao and He Ming being blocked from going through the main entrance wasn't necessarily aimed towards them. Random people couldn't just freely move around in such a carefully arranged area. Of course, 2 pro players being considered as random was a bit of a stretch. On the path opened up by security, Xiao Shiken greeted all of his new fans left and right, while walking towards Excellent Era's main entrance. Even though he came from a smaller team, he was still an all-star player. Xiao Shiken could cope with this kind of environment. Right when Xiao Shiken reached the main entrance, he suddenly stopped, staring at the team emblem hanging above the gate. The weather was good today. The 10 o'clock sunlight reflected off the team emblem. Once he stepped through this door, he would be walking on a new path in his career. Xiao Shiken never doubted his feelings for Team Thunderclap, but like every other pro player, he had great ambitions. Unfortunately, Team Thunderclap couldn't achieve what he wanted. Both sides understood and parted on good terms. A new team. A new path. Xiao Shiken needed to succeed to show that he hadn't given up on Team Thunderclap for no reason. Amid the cheers from the fans, Xiao Shiken finally stepped through Club Excellent Era's main entrance. The cheers reached their peak, drowning out the car alarms. On the second floor of Happy Internet Cafe, both Chen Guo and Wei Chen had unhappy expressions. How noisy, Chen Guo grumbled. She had gone from an admirer to a detractor. If she and Yishu had never met, she would definitely be at the front of that crowd. Boss Chen had quite a reputation among the Excellent Era fans in the area, especially the ones who frequented Happy Internet Cafe. Those people regarded her highly as a leading figure among fans. He's even enjoying it. Wei Chen's attack was mainly aimed at Xiao Shiken. He had a bad impression of that idiot from the very beginning. Let's see if you can still smile next season. Even though he said that, Wei Chen was feeling a bit weak in his heart. Team Excellent Era was truly a formidable opponent. It would arrogant and ignorant for anyone to think that they could guarantee a win facing Team Excellent Era. Even the new champions, Team Samsara, wouldn't dare be so confident facing Excellent Era's new roster. After Xiao Shiken entered through the main entrance, the club did not stop the fans from pouring in. The press conference was completely open to the public. The media was already prepared. On stage, the owner of Excellent Era, Dao Zhan, personally came out. Next to him was the manager Kui Li, and behind him were Team Excellent Era's pro players. Sun Shang, Su Mucheng, Guo Yang, Shen Jian, Zhang Jiaxin, Wang Zi, Fang Fengren, and 2 new players scouted from the training camp, Zheng Shengge, Meng Yangming. Apart from the pro players, the director of the development department and the director of the public relations department stood in a rather inconspicuous corner. All of the important figures in Excellent Era came out for Xiao Shiken's welcoming. On one hand, it was to show how much they valued him. On the other hand, it was a good opportunity to show the media and fans Excellent Era's lineup and image for next season. The pro players naturally received cheers from the crowd. Not all of them were shouting Xiao Shiken's name anymore. Some began to yell out their favorite player's name. However, the fans quickly noticed that their vice-captain Lu Hao and He Ming were missing. Everyone had come to this event, yet these 2 were missing. It let the media and fans realize something. On stage, Excellent Era's owner Dao Zhan personally made the opening statement, welcoming Xiao Shiken to Team Excellent Era. Afterwards, the two shook hands. The fans still gave face despite their doubts, and the cheers reached another peak. Next, it was Xiao Shiken's turn to speak. Xiao Shiken knew this would happen, so he was prepared. I'm still very sad about leaving Team Thunderclap. Xiao Shiken started, but he didn't talk too much about his feelings for Team Thunderclap. After all, this was Excellent Era's venue. Everyone around him was a supporter of Excellent Era. Talking too much about Thunderclap wouldn't be appropriate. After saying a few words about Thunderclap, Xiao Shiken immediately began talking about Excellent Era. He didn't compare the two teams. He mainly emphasized how he thought highly of Excellent Era's future, which was exactly what the higher-ups of Excellent Era wanted to hear. Inviting Xiao Shiken to join was to prove this point to the fans. Xiao Shiken's words further strengthened it. Excellent Era was extremely satisfied with how Xiao Shiken stuck to his principles. I hope that along with my teammates and all of you, we'll be able to walk through this low point together and restore our former glory as the three-time champions. Xiao Shiken ended his speech under the thunderous applause. An experienced team captain like Xiao Shiken naturally knew what to say at the right moment. Practically all team captains in the alliance possessed this trait, but Dao Zhan was feeling a bit emotional, as if he had never seen someone like that before. After all, everything had exceptions. Team captains who weren't like this had appeared in the alliance. There were only two extreme cases though. One was Zhou Zikai. He spoke through his playing on stage. Off stage, he pretty much didn't say anything. The other case was Excellent Era's former captain, Yi Chu, who Dao Zhan had forced out. Yi Chu was even worse than Zhou Zikai. He wouldn't even show up to press conferences. At first, it didn't matter too much. But as the alliance grew day after day, this sort of behavior from a team captain was difficult to bear. Excellent Era had put in who knew how much effort to let the media and fans finally accept such a figurehead as the team's captain. Yi Chu was finally gone. Now there was Sun Xiang and Xiao Shiken to fill in the gaps in Dao Zhan's heart. He almost wanted to cry. After the speeches ended, Excellent Era finally announced the details of Xiao Shiken's transfer. They had used Lu Hao and He Ming to trade. On paper, trading Lu Hao, He Ming, and their two characters for Xiao Shiken alone and his life extinguisher was a bit of a loss. However, this trade had other implications, which weren't convenient to tell the public. And after seeing the life brought back to Excellent Era from Xiao Xin's arrival, this trade couldn't be seen just by what was on paper. There were a lot of tricky issues that needed to be mentioned with this trade though. For example, would trading players instead of purchasing the transfer be met with resistance from the players? Did Excellent Era not want to spend the money because they were worried about the Challenger League? However, Excellent Era had put in great efforts to deal with the media. In the press conference afterwards, all of the reporters invited would show restraint. Both parties knew exactly what would be asked and what wouldn't be asked, so nothing troublesome came up for Excellent Era. Everything went harmoniously. Regarding the transfer, Excellent Era said things like, "We respect the choices of our players and we hope that they do well in Team Thunderclap." That morning, Excellent Era immersed themselves in joy. Under their careful operation, nothing unexpected happened. While some were happy, others were worried. Apart from Lu Hao and He Ming, at Club Tiny Herb, there was one person packing his belongings and getting ready to leave. In Chao Yifan's room, Gao Yingji quietly watched him pack his bags. Perhaps he should help him, but he didn't want to help him. If he packed slower, Chao Yifan would at least be able to stay for that much longer. Gao Yingji truly didn't want his good friend to leave, but the decision had already been made. Pro player contracts in the alliance typically started on July 1st and ended on June 30th of some other year. As a result, there were always players whose contracts had expired on June 30th. If the club wanted the player to stay, the club would always extend the contract before the end date. This year, on June 30th, Chao Yifan's contract would expire. Unfortunately, it wasn't yet June 30th and the club had already notified him that he wasn't a part of Team Tiny Herb's future plans. Once the contract expired, he could search for another path forward. Search for another path? Chao Yifan smiled bitterly. He had never come out on stage in an official match for even a single second. A player like him was usually called the team member who was closest to a water dispenser. Yes, his value in the team was perhaps as useful as serving tea to the other team members. He wasn't a part of Team Tiny Herb's future plans, but what team would want a water dispenser like him their future plans? The future of a championship team? What a joke. With Gao Yingji's existence, all of the spotlight shined onto him. Chow Yifan's contract wasn't renewed, which was proof that he didn't belong in a championship team. Perhaps in the past, he might have been, but that notion had quickly been wiped away. For a player like him, it wasn't a question of whether a team could find a use for him, but rather if they would even notice him. At least, when June 30th came, Chow Yifan still hadn't received any offers from another team. His status wasn't enough for someone to want to pay him to join. He could offer his services for free, wait foolishly for something to happen, or leave the pro scene. What other options did he have? Yifan, what do you plan to do? Gao Yingji was worried about what choice Chow Yifan would make. He knew about his good friend's current situation. With his current position in Tiny Herb, if he insisted, maybe he could rudely and unreasonably demand that Chow Yifan stay, but Gao Yingji wasn't someone who did that sort of thing. He could only respect the club's decision, while worrying for his friend's future. He didn't know what he could do. Me? Chow Yifan smiled. He didn't seem to be too distressed. I'm going to go pay a visit to a certain internet cafe, Chow Yifan said. Chapter 718. The Golden Generation. Internet cafe? Gao Yingji was puzzled at Chow Yifan's reply. He even thought he had heard wrong. When Chow Yifan confirmed it with a nod of his head, Gao Yingji noticed that he had finished packing his belongings. Chow Yifan only had one suitcase, stuffed with his clothing. The other things had been provided by the club. New players didn't have the qualifications to request anything. In comparison, many famous players bought their own residences. The club provided them with a room, but it was used more as a rest stop. However, since pro players often moved around quite a bit, they would one day move to a different city, so not all players bought their own homes. Where did you say you were going? Gao Yingji still had his doubts towards Chow Yifan's reply. I'm going to a place, so I can continue practicing and improving. Chow Yifan smiled. Don't worry. I'll come back. Oh. But I'm afraid that when we meet again, we won't be teammates. It's too bad that we never got the chance to play alongside each other in a match, Chow Yifan said. That's okay. We'll always be friends, Gao Yingyi said. You're right, Chow Yifan smiled. I'll send you off? Sure. The two youths walked out of the club together. After exiting through the main gate, one of them got on a car, while the other stayed. They waved goodbye and from then on, the two would walk different paths. City H, Club Excellent Era. The welcome ceremony for Xiao Shiken went on for the entire morning. It ended at around noon. The fans left, filled with hope and excitement, while Xiao Shiken's understanding of the Club Excellent Era had only just begun. He met with the pro players and the employees of the different departments, which took up the afternoon. Excellent Era was very content with Xiao Shiken. Xiao Shiken found no issues receiving such courtesy either. Dinner that day was nothing out of the ordinary. There were just more people than usual. Dao Zhan personally attended it too. However, at this moment, the main character was no longer Xiao Shiken. Sun Shang had transferred last winter, arriving half a year before Xiao Shiken. He was also someone who Dao Zhan valued greatly and couldn't be treated coldly just because of Xiao Shiken's arrival. In Dao Zhan's heart, Sun Shang was the true core and ace player of the team. At dinner time, Dao Zhan sat between these two, chatting cheerfully with them. The other team members couldn't help but be envious. In reality, Team Excellent Era wasn't so harmonious or stable. They were a relegated team, after all. With so many players in the team, how could they not have any plans for themselves? Some were willing to bet on Team Excellent Era's future, while others weren't. However, they didn't need to make their decision on July 1st. The transfer window opened between July 1st and August 31st. During these 2 months, there was time for them to survey the situation first. Especially for the players in the main roster. Who didn't want to have a few offers? Relegated teams were often shopped around by the other teams as if they were supermarkets. However, most relegated teams were crappy, so the supermarket goods were of limited quality. Excellent Era was different though. Excellent Era's relegation could be considered a miracle. No one ever doubted the skill level of Team Excellent Era's players. When Excellent Era was officially relegated, who knew how many clubs contacted Excellent Era or their players? Inviting Xiao Shiken to join the team was not only to appease the fans and give them confidence in Excellent Era's future, but also to tell the other clubs, Excellent Era isn't finished yet. Don't think of us as a supermarket. In fact, we're only growing stronger. Did you see? We were even able to grab an all-star player like Xiao Shiken despite being relegated. Inside the team, Sun Shang and Xiao Shiken needed to be won over. As for everyone else, preparations had been made. Xiao Shiken's addition to the team could be used as an opportunity too. However, you cannot get fat with only one mouthful. There was an order that needed to be followed. Work had to be completed step by step. Right now, winning over Sun Shang and Xiao Shiken was most important. Dao Zhan chatted with these two core members, while also being mindful of the other players in the team. From time to time, he would say a few things to everyone and even talk with a few one-on-one. He didn't leave anyone completely out. However, there was one person who was difficult to deal with. Su Mucheng. These days, even though Su Mucheng participated in everything the club required, her heart wasn't there. When Dao Zhan talked to her for a bit, her only replies were, oh, ah. Ha ha. Why are you like Jozakai all of a sudden, Mucheng? Dao Zhan joked. Everyone laughed at the joke that their boss made. As for how Su Mucheng would react, everyone had their own thoughts. Only Xiao Shiken was a bit puzzled. He and Su Mucheng weren't strangers. Both of them had joined the competitive scene in Season 4. The rookies from that year were considered as the Alliance's golden generation because a huge number of the rookies from that season ended up becoming all-star players. Apart from Su Mucheng and Xiao Shiken, there was Team Blue Rain's Yu Wenzhou, Team Blue Rain's Huang Xiaoshan, Team Tyranny's Zhang Jinji, Team Misty Rain's Chu Yongshu, Team Void's Li Zan, Team Royal Styles Tian Sen, and Team Tiny Herb's Li Yibo. All of them were now famed all-star players and all of them started in Season 4. In addition, all of them immediately became core members of their respective teams. Zhang Jinji even helped Han Wenqing and Team Excellent Era's consecutive championship victories, becoming the first rookie in Glory history to win the championships as a part of the main roster. The Golden Generation was not just in name. These players even created their own chat group called the Golden Generation. They weren't really being arrogant. It was named in a joking manner. In reality, the rookies each year always created their own group to talk to each other. That year, they just happened to call it the Golden Generation. The other difference was that the majority of rookies had difficulty standing out. However, their Golden Generation immediately came out as talents in the main roster. That topic wasn't as prominent for them. They happily chatted together in the group chat, so their relationships with each other were naturally quite good. There were 2 female players in their group too, and Su Mucheng was an extremely pretty one at that. When they were bored, they would tease her. They didn't act any differently from normal people. The players from the Golden Generation were on good terms with each other. Xiao Shiken and Su Mucheng could be considered as friends. When he came to Excellent Era, he thought of how apart from Yuan Zhou and Huang Xiaoshan, no one else from the Golden Generation was on the same team together. Now, he would be with one through his transfer to Excellent Era. But when he saw how Su Mucheng didn't seem to have her heart here, he felt a bit puzzled. With his understanding of Su Mucheng, he didn't think she was acting this way because of him. After seeing Su Mucheng reply with simple ahs and ohs to Dao Zhan, he could see that Su Mucheng might have some conflict with the team. It seemed like there really were internal issues in the team. And with the problem being on Su Mucheng, Xiao Shiken immediately thought of the rumors related to Yichu's retirement. Just when he was about to get up and talk to her, Dao Zhan's attention switched to him and Sun Shang. I'll bring you guys to a place in a bit. Ah, Xiao Shiken was surprised. Where? It's very close, Dao Zhan laughed. Xiao Shiken glanced at Sun Shang. Sun Shang shrugged his shoulders, indicating that he didn't know. Let's eat, Dao Zhan smiled as he said to everyone. In reality, he was quite angry at Su Mucheng. Truthfully, he originally didn't plan on keeping Su Mucheng. He wasn't worried about not getting a good price for her. However, Su Mucheng herself refused. It wasn't possible for another club to purchase a player without the player's approval. As for a player trade, Su Mucheng only had a year left in her contract, making it a big obstacle. No one was willing to trade a valuable player, who could leave the next year. So even though Excellent Era could trade players, it would be hard to negotiate any good deals with Su Mucheng's situation. And the problem was that Su Mucheng refused to extend her contract with Excellent Era. She also refused to be bought or traded to another club. All of this clearly indicated that she planned on leaving on her own once the contract expired. Dao Zhan was depressed at this issue. Such a valuable player couldn't even be sold for money. Even worse, for a player like Su Mucheng with incredible business value, the sponsors required her to appear on stage a certain number of times or else their sponsorship money would be reduced. But for the current Excellent Era, they were relegated. The Challenger League matches didn't count. The amount of money that Su Mucheng brought through sponsorships would certainly be significantly reduced. The sponsors wouldn't be happy either. But there was nothing they could do. He hadn't expected Excellent Era to have been relegated. It was a big miscalculation on his part. Such a profitable player would only remain for the Challenger League. After the team returned to the alliance, she would just wag her tail at them and leave. It didn't fit in with Dao Zhan's plan at all. There was nothing he could do though. He couldn't sell her even if he wanted to, but leaving her in the team was a problem too. Su Mucheng made it even worse by pretending to be like Zhou Zikai and keeping silent. Dao Zhan was at wit's end. He knew very well that Su Mucheng was just waiting for the contract to expire. Afterwards, she would go look for Yi Chu. Who knew if Yi Chu had told her to make this move? Yi Chu. Dao Zhan was about to go and pay a visit to their former team captain. He was bringing these two new core members of Excellent Era along with him too. He really wanted to see just how confident Yi Chu would be when facing them. Chapter 719. A Visit. In the practice room of the second floor of Happy Internet Cafe, the people there continued to play the game as usual, but the mood in the room was somewhat downcast. Excellent Era's grand welcoming for Xiao Shiken angered Chen Guo and Wei Chen. On the other hand, Yi Shu wasn't as emotional as the other two. Steamed Bun had no idea who Xiao Shiken was and Tang Ru wasn't afraid of anyone. Xiao Shiken's arrival didn't bother these three at all. The reason that these three weren't happy was because their boss hunt didn't go as well as they had planned. The problem wasn't them, but rather that their opponents were a lot stronger than before. Especially Tyrannical Ambition. After a few exchanges, Yi Shu was certain that Tyrannical Ambition had an absolute expert on their side. On Tyrannical Ambition's side, there was a single heavily guarded cleric. Yi Shu immediately knew that Zhang Jinji had personally come out to the game. Both Yi Shu and Zhang Jinji were skilled in tactics. Although they mainly specialized in 5 vs 5 team battles, in large-scale battles, their impact on the battlefield was far greater than someone like Zhao Yuji, who could kill a few more players than the others at best. With Zhang Jinji's help, Tyrannical Ambition's fighting strength practically doubled. Their elites were already widely reputed as powerful. As a result, Tyrannical Ambition immediately won themselves a huge advantage in the competition for bosses. Even though Yi Shu didn't lose to Zhang Jinji in tactics, their troops' fighting strength lost to Tyrannical Ambitions by quite a huge margin. Their numbers advantage wasn't actually much of an advantage. A top guild like Tyrannical Ambition only sent out 2 elite groups, but that didn't mean their side only had 2 elite groups. Which of their branch guilds didn't have their own elite groups? The only reason that the guilds sent out 2 groups was so that they didn't waste too many people's time. At the same time, they didn't want every wild boss fight to become a world war. The big guilds didn't want that. The small guilds even less so. In fact, they might not even have the resources to sustain such fighting. Thus, Yi Shu and the Alliance didn't want to fight by overwhelming the opponents with a sea of people. It was better to follow the unwritten rules like everyone else. But today's results ended pitifully for the Alliance. Tyrannical Ambition was the strongest guild, but the other guilds either found an alliance or had come to an agreement. The competition for bosses instantly became complicated. 6 bosses had spawned today, but Yi Shu and the Alliance failed to get a single one. How could he be feeling good? Lulan Slash and the other allied guild leaders also sighed. Even though Yi Shu had given them a warning before by letting them know that this week would be the most difficult, no one expected such a disparity compared to last week, not even Yi Shu. It was unpredictable that even Zhang Jinji had personally came. Zhang Jinji coming to the game wasn't likely at the request of the club guilds. This action could be considered as made by the club as a whole. It seemed like tyrannical ambition was about to make a huge move. During the summer break, the club even had their vice-captain come out. This move showed just how much the club valued the upcoming season. Zhang Jinji had been with Team Tyranny today too. It didn't look like he was helping out just for fun. Lulan Slash and the others were still distressed by today's bosses. Yi Shu was thinking deeper though. What do we do? They asked Yi Shu. Zhang Jinji isn't that hard to deal with, Yi Shu said. What? Their eyes lit up, but then again, if he wasn't hard to deal with, then why didn't they win even a single boss today? Of those 6 bosses, tyrannical ambition actually got 3 of them. 3 in one day. That was an exceptional harvest. They were only a single guild. They didn't need to split their harvest with 4 or 5 others. He follows his sleep schedule very strictly. We'll just have to be more active when he's sleeping, Yi Shu said. The 4 guild leaders hadn't thought that dealing with Zhang Jinji would involve something outside the game. This is the most economical and simplest method, Yi Shu said. Oh, that's true. It's very reliable, Yu Zikan said. Zhang Jinji was like Yi Shu. There was no point in killing his character. What mattered was the person controlling the character. However, Zhang Jinji's strict self-discipline was famous in glory. For Yi Shu and these guild leaders, changing their sleep schedule was something they often did, but for Zhang Jinji, that would make headlines for gaming news. Simply avoiding Zhang Jinji would certainly be an effective strategy. But we'll only be able to play for a third of the day. If he plays like this every day, we'll lose out on quite a lot, Yu Zikan said. We'll think of something else for the other 2/3 of the day. We were caught unprepared today. If we have a better understanding of them, we might not lose, Yi Shu said. He glanced at Wei Chen. He could finally employ the mole in Samsara. How could he use Samsara's elite troops to his advantage? Yi Shu thought to himself, when suddenly, someone knocked on their practice room's door. Who is it? Chen Guo called out. An employee from Happy Internet Cafe pushed the door open a bit and said, Boss, someone's asking for you. Who? Tell them to come over, Chen Guo said. Okay. The employee didn't say who it was. He closed the door and left. I'll go take a look, Chen Guo told the employee to have them come over themselves, but she still got up. However, just when she got up, the door was pushed open again and the employee stood to the side. They're here. The people in the practice room raised their heads to see who it was. Some felt like the people outside seemed familiar, while some felt like they should recognize them. The only ones who completely recognized them were Chen Guo and Yi Shu. Is this your practice room? Not bad. The first person to come in laughed. Dao Zan, excellent Arizona. A powerful owner of a huge club praising Happy Internet Cafe's small practice room felt insincere. It almost sounded like he was ridiculing them. To the left of him was the young and arrogant Sun Shang. To the right was Xiao Shikan. Because Dao Zan had kept it a mystery on the way here, Xiao Shikan was even more surprised and serious than Yi Shu and Chen Guo. He wrinkled his brow and pushed his glasses up. He was quite nearsighted and didn't feel confident in his eyeglasses. After adjusting his glasses and squinting, he finally confirmed, Senior Yi Chu? Yes, in front of Yi Shu, the golden generation was still several generations younger than someone from the first generation. Chen Guo was already feeling upset upon seeing Dao Zan and Sun Shang. She was about to shout, Who let you in? However, Xiao Shikan's tone of voice was very polite, so Chen Guo didn't shout in the end. Yi Shu got up and greeted Xiao Shikan, Oh, little Xiao's here. Sit anywhere you'd like. As for the other two, Yi Shu gestured towards the sofa in the practice room and said, Let's sit there. Oh, Xiao Shikan. I was about to say you looked a bit familiar. Wei Chen stood up at this moment. You are? Xiao Shikan asked. The other side spoke very casually as if they were close, but Xiao Shikan didn't seem to recognize him at all. Wei Chen introduced himself. Team Blue Rain's former captain, Xiao Shikan immediately recalled. Ha ha, that's right. That's me. Wei Chen was quite happy that Xiao Shiken immediately knew who he was. He felt as if he were famous. In reality, he was just lucky to run into Xiao Shiken. As a master tactician, Xiao Shiken might not have even interacted with Wei Chen before, but he still had that information in his head. In comparison, a normal, younger player. Wei Chen. Who's that? See, there's a younger person right there. Sun Shang had never heard of Wei Chen's name before. Sun Shang repeated it in his head, but still couldn't come up with anything, so he asked. Of course you don't know. At that time, you were still playing around with your little JJ. Sun Shang instantly turned red. He was no stranger to trash talk, but it was his first time hearing such a straightforward and vulgar insult. In particular, after Wei Chen finished speaking, he turned his head to look at Sun Shang. Who knew what he was imagining in his head? What did you say? Sun Jiang's counterattack was quite terrible. Dao Zhan was also surprised. He had met Wei Chen before. It had been many years since though, so he hadn't recognized him. After the introduction, he immediately remembered and was surprised that he was with Yi Chu. By the time he reacted, the two sides had already started butting heads. Sun Jiang's response made even Dao Zhan extremely disappointed. However, Sun Shang was still a young player, after all. He couldn't compare to those older fellows. Not every player had this kind of talent like Huang Shaoshan. Haha, so it's Captain Wei Chen. I apologize for not recognizing you sooner. We've met before, right? Dao Zhan hastily said to cover up Sun Jiang's terrible response. Dao Zhan wanted to show Yi Chu their strength, but Yi Chu hadn't even said anything yet and Wei Chen shut Sun Shang down. Who are you? Wei Chen asked. It was hard to say if he was sincere or not. Only he would know. Dao Zhan introduced himself. Oh, Excellent Era's owner. Correct, Dao Zhan nodded his head. When is Excellent Era disbanding? Wei Chen asked. Why would we disband? Dao Zhan was still smiling. He wouldn't be so childish as to be furious at such words. You've already been relegated. Why wouldn't you disband? Wei Chen said. Before Dao Zhan could reply, he said to Xiao Shiken, Little Xiao, right? You seem like a good person, but why are you so stupid? Excellent Era's already sinking and yet you jump on board. Are you thinking that the world's not ending soon enough? Xiao Shiken heard Wei Chen's taunt, but only smiled in response. He knew that Wei Chen was just trash talking. He wouldn't try and explain his reasoning to him, so he just smiled. He was more concerned about why the boss brought him and Sun Shang here. Getting relegated isn't the end of the world. Speaking of which, you retired many years ago. Aren't you also struggling? Dao Zhan had some skill. He guessed Wei Chen's intentions and countered. My struggle spells disaster for you. To think Excellent Era would fall by my hands. Yi Chu, you'd better not stop me when the time comes, Wei Chen said. Yi Chu finally had a chance to speak. He laughed, I hope we come across Excellent Era someday. Chapter 720. The drunkard's heart isn't in the cup. Wei Chen's trash talk was rather straightforward. Sun Shang had stomped the ground in anger, but Dao Zhan and Xiao Shiken didn't have much of a reaction. However, Yi Chu's words cut deeper into their hearts. Even Xiao Shiken started to sweat. I hope we come across Excellent Era someday. It sounded like a reasonable statement, but who would ever think a championship team like Excellent Era would be eliminated by some random players in the Challenger League? Yi Chu was telling Dao Zhan not to be so confident, but there really shouldn't be any reason for Excellent Era not to be confident. Their team was simply too heaven-defying when placed in the Challenger League. No one but Dao Zhan himself would know what he was feeling towards these words, but he clearly heard the implied ridicule. He replied, Ha ha. How come it sounds like these words are more appropriate for you? How's it going? How's your preparation for the Challenger League going? Are the people sitting here your teammates? It was all clear now. Xiao Shiken finally understood. Even a blind person could see that Yi Chu and Excellent Era had some sort of conflict with each other. The two sides evidently didn't part on good terms like he and Team Thunderclap had. After Yi Chu announced his retirement, it seems like he wanted to create his own team and return to the Pro Alliance. Things happened to play out like a drama and Excellent Era actually ended up relegated. The two sides unexpectedly became enemies in the Challenger League. It was obvious why Dao Zhan brought them over to pay Yi Chu a visit. For them, it could be considered a demonstration of their strength. For the other side, it would put them under greater pressure. At the same time, it was a warning to Xiao Shiken that their run in the Challenger League wouldn't be easy. With an opponent like Yi Chu hiding in their midst, they couldn't relax. Yes, they couldn't relax. How could Xiao Shiken dare to underestimate a god like Yi Chu? He began playing Glory precisely during Team Excellent Era's dominance in the alliance under Yi Chu's lead. When he became a pro player, Team Excellent Era had just become 3-time champions and Yi Chu's fame was at its peak. Yi Chu's influence on their generation of players was incomparably deep. How many of them grew up studying Yi Chu's playstyle? Underestimate Yi Chu? Maybe players from the newer generation like Sun Xiang might, but for Xiao Shiken, he didn't dare to even think of it. Our opponent is Yi Chu. Xiao Shiken understood what Dao Zhan wanted to tell him. He wasn't a person who gossiped much and didn't have too much interest in understanding the grudges between Yi Chu and Excellent Era. As opponents, Yi Chu wasn't a stranger to him. He grew up watching Yi Chu play in the alliance. After becoming a pro player, he had fought against him many times before. At that time, he had been looking for ways to defeat Team Excellent Era. Now, he had become a member of Team Excellent Era, and his number one opponent was unexpectedly Team Excellent Era's former captain, Yi Chu. In any case, they could not lose this fight. There was no leeway in the Challenger League. What exactly are you guys here for? Seeing Dao Zhan acting all delighted, Chen Guo felt like she needed to show that she existed. Nothing really, Dao Zhan smiled. I just wanted to bring our captain and vice-captain to pay a visit to their senior and see if any advice could be given to them. Advice? Tang Ru became excited. How about a spar? Huh? Dao Zhan was a bit surprised. He took a look at her. That was just something he had said. He had no intentions of bringing these two all-stars to challenge anyone. They didn't even have their account cards on them. Who's going first? Tang Ru was already eager to give it a try. They're not going up together? Steamed Bun asked. That's not good, right? Tang Ru hesitated. Sun Xiang couldn't help but want to give it a go, but Xiao Shiken was calm. He spoke first. There's no need for us to spar. We'll see each other again on stage sooner or later. We're simply here to say hi to our senior. That's right, Dao Zhan laughed. He didn't mind Xiao Shiken taking matters into his own hands. Team Excellent Era currently needed someone who could take the initiative and make firm decisions. Although Team Excellent Era appointed Sun Xiang as team captain and Xiao Shiken as vice-captain, Dao Zhan was certain that the person calling the shots would certainly be Xiao Shiken. Sun Xiang didn't have much desire to bear the responsibilities of a team captain, but he liked the title of team captain. As a result, Dao Zhan didn't bother making trouble by switching his position to something else. Xiao Shiken's position as vice-captain was enough to lead the team. Dao Zhan believed that an experienced player like Xiao Shiken would be able to understand his intentions and perform his duties appropriately. Just like now, he was very satisfied with how Xiao Shiken stood out and gave his reply. On the other hand, Sun Jiang's eagerness only made him sigh. He really is young. This type of willingness to fight was meaningless to them. What were Sun Jiang's and Xiao Shiken's statuses? Against those random people that Yi Chu had found from who knew where, of course they should win. If they happened to lose, that would be a huge loss of face. It would also increase the other side's morale and confidence. Sun Xiang didn't consider this sort of lose-lose situation. He saw that the other side wanted to challenge him, so he wanted to beat them. That was it. Xiao Shiken clearly thought of the consequences and stopped it from happening. He simply restricted the situation to only talking. Tang Ru saw that there was no fight to be had. Her enthusiasm waned and she went back to focusing on the game. She knew why the other side came, but she had no place in their talks, so she didn't bother with it. However, the way she didn't put Sun Xiang or Xiao Shiken in her eyes attracted their attention. Truthfully, when Team Excellent Era had been relegated and Yi Chu was confirmed to be their opponents, Dao Zhan had been anticipating this moment for a while. He began paying attention to any information on Yi Chu. He gathered any conjectures in front of him, such as what pro-level experts he had on his side. These were just conjectures though. Dao Zhan didn't want to be bogged down by conjectures and not facts. He wanted to use this opportunity to give them a greeting, while probing out Yi Chu's team to see what type of people he had. He wanted to know the background of these various experts. If there really were so many glory experts, how could they all have been dug out by Yi Chu? If so, those club workers, whose job was to pay attention to any potential talents, were too useless, no? When he walked through the door, he saw Wei Chen. Then, he saw the classes used by Tang Ru and Steamed Bun from their screens. Battle Mage, Brawler. These two classes completely matched the reports given by their guild, Excellent Dynasty. Dao Zan felt like his trip here wasn't a waste. He had a much clearer grasp of Yi Chu's strength now. However, seeing that there were 12 computers in the practice room, was it supposed to be one for each player? It was already quite late, so it would be very normal if not all of them were still playing in the practice room. Thinking of this, Dao Zan felt like he may have been a bit hasty. It was currently vacation time and it was late at night. Not all of Yi Chu's team might have shown up. If he directly asked, it would be too obvious. The other side could simply lie. Right now, the biggest advantage that Yi Chu possessed was that Excellent Era had no knowledge of his team. Even though Excellent Era had Sun Shang and Xiao Shikan as their core, Sun Shang was using one autumn leaf, which Yi Chu couldn't be any more familiar with. Xiao Shikan was no stranger to Yi Chu either. I need to find other opportunities to scout him out. All of these thoughts sounded complicated, but Dao Zan tidied them up in an instant. Just when he was about to say something, there was another knock on the practice room door. The same employee stuck his head in and said, "Boss, there's someone looking for you again." Who is it this time? Chen Guo wasn't in a good mood. Excellent Era had brought 2 all-star level players to show off their strength. How could she be happy? He says his name is Chao Yifan, the employee said. Oh, Chen Guo turned to look at Yi Shu. Yi Shu immediately took note of the name. So Yifan's already here. Yi Shu headed towards the door. Who is it? Steamed Bun asked. 1-inch Ash, Tang Ru knew. Oh, that fellow. I'm going to go too then. Steamed Bun jumped up. Me too. Tang Ru got up as well. How interesting. Wei Chen also had a deep impression of the ghost blade and also headed out of the door with everyone else. Little Li, could you take care of the guests? Yi Shu told the employee to attend to the 3 guests in the room. Everyone else had already walked out in a line. Only Dao Zan, Xiao Shikan, and Sun Shang were thrown aside in the practice room. The person accompanying them would be Happy Internet Cafe's Little Li. Little Li clearly wasn't sure how to handle this situation. Unfortunately, he had been abandoned by the others already. He looked at the 3 in front of him at a loss of what to do. In the end, he squeezed out a few words. Would any of you like some water? No need. Thanks, Xiao Shikan replied. At this moment, Dao Zan was so angry, no words could come out of his mouth. How disrespectful. This was unadorned disdain for them. Excellent Era's owner, captain, and vice-captain had just been thrown aside in a practice room just like that. Yi Chu left an employee here to attend to them and then everyone just ran over to meet some random punk. Who was this person? Was he more important than them? Chao Yifan. That name sounds quite familiar, Xiao Shikan muttered. Really? Dao Zan was surprised. He felt like this person's background shouldn't be small, but after thinking about it for a while, he couldn't think of anything. Sun Shang remembered though, isn't he the one that lost to Li Zan in the All-Stars Rookie Challenge? Sun Shang had participated in the Rookie Challenge, and had been quite depressed at the results. The painful experience deepened his impression of the event, so he even remembered a no-name like Chao Yifan. Right, it's him. Xiao Shikan hadn't been wrong when he said that the name sounded familiar. If Chao Yifan wasn't so invisible, he would have thought of it a while ago. He's from Team Tiny Herb. Even though he has never gone out on stage, he's an officially registered member of Team Tiny Herb.